Greetings from Delhi Medical Association and eMedi News. Welcome to the show Chat with Dr. KK. We have with us Dr. Ashok Jain, who is visiting from Houston, who is a psychiatrist. Welcome to our country and your own country.
Yes.
And welcome to our show.
Thank you.
You have recently heard about the gang rape which has shaken the whole world.
Yes.
And I'm going to talk about is the psyche behind rapist.
Absolutely.
Psyche behind rape. I'm saying paraphiliac versus non-paraphiliac. One is increased urge, and second is the offense that non-paraphiliac, where you have something for your ego. You are trying to rape somebody.
Absolutely.
Just elaborate.
Yeah, the rape is a lot of people don't realize that rape is not only a violence against a female, it's a violence against humanity. Basically, you are absolutely right, Dr. KK, that it is whether the ego is superseding the act or not. So the important thing to realize over here is it's not the sexual part the rapist is after. It is complete dominance. And sometimes when the dominance is not achieved by merely the rape, the rapist will go further. And like in this case, what happened, the rapist violated not the integrity of the woman body, but also it violated the whole physical aspect, because submission was not there complete.
Is it a sign of a disease?
It's a sign of a disease. It's not.
Or was it alcohol?
Well, I think you are absolutely right. There's always a debate upon nature versus nurture, and you want to see whether it is a personality. I don't think there is anybody as a bad man, and alcoholism causes a very significant aspect is called disinhibition. When it called disinhibition, that all the good sense goes away.
So under an effect of alcohol, can you do brutal murders?
Yes,
to that extent.
Your chances of committing suicide, homicide, or rape are much higher when you are
not rape. I'm talking about gang rape,
any violence, any violence. But
specifically if you are instigated.
Yes, especially. Well, again, the question is over here whether your ego is subjugating the whole personality of the other person or not. Now, alcohol can contribute to that, but if you say alcohol is the cause of it, no. Like for a person to commit a homosexual act under alcohol is not possible, because that's not in their definition. Same way, for a rapist, it has to be in the definition of the rapist that the rape can be committed. For a person who doesn't have the definition of rapist, drinking alcohol won't make them rapist. So yes, it's both ways, goes both ways, whether they are doing it because their inclination toward the rape, or they are doing it because they have excuse of drinking. But yes, alcohol can contribute to it.
Okay, when we talk about rape as a patient, rapist as a patient,
yes.
Which are the conditions where it's like a mental disorder, that you have sexual urges, you have fantasies, you have exhibitionism, you have lots of disorders where you try to, all the time you're thinking of sex. And what are these traits, how to pick them up, and what to do?
That's a very good question, Dr. KK. See, the thing is that the sexuality is a very integral thing, and there's a lot of times when especially like in the closed setting in India, when there is a sexual violation in childhood, a lot of women grow up resenting sex. Sex is violence, they're not knowing. Sex is a very intimate part of the whole of the body and personality, in the marital life or any intimacy. So yes, sexual disorders are much more common when there is any sexual violation, either by rapist or by the sexual perpetrator.
What can be the percentage?
It can vary because it's so much underreported. So, the rape is because the problem is the victim thinks that they are to be blamed.
So I have been given a statistic that 54% of the children in India, this is the statistics of the last year, had mentioned that they had a child abuse experience.
Wow, that's shocking.
In their childhood.
See, that's why it is very important. We need to strictly reinforce the Child Protective Act. The reason in US is that if a child, even my daughter, my wife is a medical and I am a leading psychiatrist in USA, even my child goes to the school and say my dad slapped me, they have to have a full investigation. It is not hush-hush. Over here, if a child reports, they are made a stigmatized, they are made a taboo of, and they are victimized. So absolutely, we need to make sure that reinforcement of the child protection is very high on our agenda.
Going away from the topic, what you would have been if you would not have been a psychiatrist or a doctor?
I looking back, thinking about, initially I wanted to be surgeon. I got admission in surgery, and but after 6
If
months,
you would not have been a doctor, what you would have become?
I would be social reformer.
Social reformer. We have in this particular case, one of the rapists is a juvenile, so he is not being trial in an adult court. He's in juvenile court where the maximum punishment is 3 years. So from his psyche point of view, what do you feel? Will he?
I think grossly, personally speaking, it's a travesty of justice. In US, what we do is, if any after 16 years, any child or adolescent, you can say, commits a crime, they can be certified as adults. And I don't know, I think there is a clause in Indian Penal Code that after 16, no, there is none.
No.
Well, that's a travesty.
The charge sheet has already been filed against him. He is in a juvenile act. He will not get a imprisonment more than 3 years. No,
All Western countries after 16 years they can be certified, depending on the judge's order. They can be certified as adult.
So it is not chronological age; it is the biological age.
The biological issue.
So biological and chronological age are different.
And the maturity, mental maturity too. In this case, the 17-year-old or 17.5-year-old instigated the violence also, we heard. So how can he not be penalized and just go off on probation in few months is unthinkable.
Do you feel that first of contact, the policeman who reaches at the assault place should be trained in first aid?
Absolutely.
Empathy and first aid?
Absolutely. Lot of times I have a lot of police officers as my patients because they get traumatized by looking at the body, the violence. It's not a natural sight, and they have to treat the victims. They have to witness all those homicides, suicides. They have a lot of disease called post-traumatic stress disorder. The post-traumatic PTSD is very common in females of the rape victims, as well as even the police officers who are treating them. So absolutely they should be fully trained.
So what Dr. Ashok says is very clear that rapist needs to be not only punished but also treated. And if that's so, we need a lot of change in the society, not only in the society but also in the medical profession, in the policing, in the at the level of judges, that the whole society has to be thought of differently. Let's thank you very much for joining us in this session.
Appreciate it.
That's all for today. We'll come back with one more show. Till that, goodbye. Thank you.